Hey guys, welcome to Breaking Feud. This video I really want to talk about something that I feel like Apple should do. And it's making a camera, honestly, a smart camera, just like Android did. Okay, let me explain why I said this. It's going to be more clear. So at the moment of recording this video, most of the time I shoot with the selfie camera on my iPhone. I'm shooting on the rear end of my iPhone using the Apple Watch to kind of control the camera. Now, a lot of times, photographers like me use cameras like these, right? People like me who don't do high-end professional photography would get something like this and not some like bigger DSLRs or bigger mirrorless cameras. This is a good price for someone like me who enjoys doing photography and wants to get a professional look out of it without going high-end and getting more gear. So yeah, here's the issue. It is easier to use a smartphone to take pictures, especially with iPhones having amazing camera quality. You can tell this camera looks so much better. The rear camera, it's giving off like a really amazing look because it's an 48 megapixel camera on my 15 Pro. One issue I don't really like using on cameras like these are the Canon camera I used to have. Mostly cameras that don't use film, right? They end up using these digital cameras use software. But here's the issue. The software is garbage. And honestly, so when I bought this camera, I was surprised with the software and learned that newer cameras can interact with your phone through an application. So there's times where I actually shot a couple of videos on it's on YouTube using this camera. But what I did was I used my iPad or my iPhone to actually use the app to connect to this camera to use as a viewfinder. And there's apps where you can connect your phone to your camera and pull out all the photos and videos being recorded and transfer them to your phone wirelessly without taking out the SD card, which is in a sense good because you end up saving a lot of time by the transferring of things and moving it to a thing, especially for me where I'm always on moving around. I don't like sticking in one place. And I end up editing on my iPhone. The Lightroom on my iPhone is pretty good. With this, it's with my MacBook, I kind of but here's the issue. It doesn't have the touch interface. I do have an iPad, but it's not running the full version of Lightroom. But I love the touch interface of that. But here's the issue. The software and the experience of that is god-awful. Smartphones now these days are becoming better. Now it's a case of me. It's really hard for me to recommend someone to buy a camera, even a high-end point and shoot now. Let's say, if you asked me a couple of years ago about owning a camera, I would be like, don't buy a cheap point and shoot. If you're buying a camera, buy at least a high-end point and shoot or something like this, which you can get for $1,000 in a bundle. But even then, it's now hard recommending people to get a high-end camera because these are almost on par with the high-end point-and-shoot cameras, which are kind of, in a sense, on par with this. And it's amazing, but at the same time, I feel like Apple should develop a software, at least make a camera, do a thing where they did with an iPod Touch. Use softwares, use the iOS whole layout, but in a non-phony way. So you can legit Apple can legit just take the iPhone, remove the camera hump, and just honestly put a big sensor on it. Like do an iPod Touch style, but for at least a mirrorless camera or point and shoot. This way, it is easier for someone like me or like other people to kind of um, do a lot of things in the camera. Let's like I know Android, right? Originally Android was supposed to be a software for cameras, but then it became a smartphone OS. But obviously Samsung in the past has used Android to make a point and shoot uh, camera. So essentially, it was an iPod Touch equivalent for Android, but instead of being a standalone iPhone iPod hybrid, it was a Android point and shoot hybrid, and they've made I think one or two models of I think three models of a point and shoot and two models of a mirrorless slash DSLR type device. And what's cool is within the OS you can it runs like the Android OS you buy on a smartphone, so you can legit edit and do over email and everything, and it's amazing. Apple should do the same thing, especially when I guess they focus heavily on like them being more of a professional thing, right? Making like a lower end computer like the MacBook Air, but then having MacBook Pro, the cheese grater one, and Mac Mini for professional users. And essentially, also with their smartphone lineup, they're making iPhone 15, the iPhone Pro models. What they can do is instead of making the Pro models of smartphones, use that R&D to kind of push in towards just a iOS type camera device. And you can make you don't have I'm not saying to make you like make mirrorless cameras and whatnot. Do point and shoot cameras, because essentially Apple's trying to do a thing where like they're trying to make the iPhone 15 the iPhone Pros into like the best point and shoot. Why not go full in on that and just any like pro model of the phone features that you were trying to add on, like the phones just use that to like the standard model, so that they can just at least keep the phone lineup to two models, a small size and a big size. So for example, let's say if they decide to release the iPhone 16 lineup, there's only the 16 and 16 Plus. They use the latest and greatest chip. There are no Pro models. The Pro models can go and develop a mirrorless camera. You can add an eSIM and a phone app to it. Why not? But use that to make the Apple camera, and use that to your advantage to make a better chipset. And you can use the A18 Ultra chip and put that onto that device, because then you're telling users, people, hey, if you want a pro iOS device, mobile device, we start making the pros. Here is the mirrorless camera. This kind of honestly changed the whole like mobile slash camera department, right? Because then what will happen is you will end up creating a whole new segment where like professionals will start using this camera, right? People are already making short films on iPhones. We already had well-known directors, people like Zack Snyder, using an iPhone to make a short film. Why not just go full on with that, right? It will help it will help end this whole weird border, because for me, whenever I do photography and videography and videos on my iPhone, one thing that I'm annoyed at is because this is an all-in-one device in a phone, I do get annoying phone calls that actually interrupts the video and photography that I'm doing on the same device, right? So you get an uninterrupted version of that on this iOS type camera. So yeah. Like I said earlier, a lot of filmmakers and whatnot, and a lot of high-end photographers are using the iPhone Pro models to do amazing work, right? Make amazing films, take amazing photography work. It's on Time magazine and stuff like that. They're using it for like real work and replacing cameras. But in this sense, this if they make an iOS device that is a mirrorless camera or like a good point and shoot device that runs iOS, this can help advance kind of the whole creative space and the whole pro areas. Now, like with even then, like we got like Macs to we got Apple softwares where like on Macs, if you want to use the webcam, they ask us if we want to use our iPhone camera because our iPhone camera is honestly so good that it can replace our webcam on our Macs. You can do the same thing with the point and shoot camera that's running iOS. There's this film called The Creator that is directed by Gareth Edwards. He had directed Star Wars Rogue One, and before that he did the 2014 Godzilla movie, and it stars John David Washington. And what's cool about this film specifically, I mean, I'm a big fan of sci-fi films, but this film used a really amazing camera. This movie, as I'm reading an article, it was they used a Sony FX3, which is one of the affordable high-end cameras that you can get literally by eBay or like Best Buy and whatnot. And it's like roughly a $4,000 camera. And that movie, like if you look at it, it's amazing. You wouldn't even know. I didn't even know until like until the director started talking about it. And essentially this is good for a lot of creators, right? People who want to, it's not just for filmmakers, people who want to do videos on music and whatnot, and other industries, like business. You got people in the medical field who needs a really good camera to, like, I guess, capture certain things and whatnot, right? They can really utilize the iOS point and shoot for this. So yeah, honestly, I would say go for it. And just like the iPhone and Apple Watch connection, you can do the same thing with point and shoot camera, where the users can use their Apple Watch to control kind of the camera through the viewfinder. Because currently I'm using the rear camera, so in order for me to look at the viewfinder, I'm using the Apple Watch. Do something like that with this point and shoot camera, and it'll be amazing. Obviously, with Apple, right, they might put this around like the $3,000-$4,000 price range, but I wouldn't mind, honestly. So yeah, Apple, if you're watching this, please make a point and shoot device running iOS in a similar fashion that Samsung did with a couple point and shoot cameras. I know they made two dedicated point and shoot cameras, but around the time when Samsung did the Galaxy S4, they made a second version of the Galaxy S24 where it was a point and shoot camera phone running Android. So honestly, Apple, it would be cool if you go in that route, honestly. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. Please, as always, please subscribe to this channel, give this a thumbs up, share this video with everyone else. Honestly, please share it with anyone and everyone else, just so that Apple can see this video. And I hope it does happen eventually down the road. So yeah, Thank you. As always, subscribe, click on the notification bell icon, hit the subscribe button. Let's try to hit 1,000 subs. So yeah, thank you and stay safe.